Hi guys, it's Grace with Grace Gets Gastric, and I'm here today for my 2020 New Year's resolutions / goals. So if you watched my video for 2019, you'll know that I do my New Year's resolutions a little bit differently, in that I try to think of kind of buckets or areas of my life, kind of overarching things that make me happy, and then within those buckets I kind of do little subcategories and specific goals within those to sort of increase my general happiness. So the idea is to really just grow myself and grow my joy. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. The first category of things is being healthy makes me happy. So the first part of that is nutritional health. And my main focus for 2020, I would like to be as far as nutrition, is to really work on my relationship with food. I know that is somewhat of a nebulous goal because it's not really a SMART goal in terms of, specific, measurable, etc. But that is the kind of the biggest issue around nutrition. I also want to continue to track. I think right now tracking is the best bet for me. If that changes throughout the year, then I will adjust, but for now I think that tracking is good for me. I'd like to kind of experiment with my macros. I know I'm kind of going into this little nebulous space in terms of plastics and what that is going to do in terms of my body composition and my caloric intake and all of that. So really just to be mindful of all of that, to keep my eye on things. And then, when I create a plan, when I come up with plans, to stick with them. I want to be better about really staying focused and on track. Next part of health is fitness, so physical health. Again, because I have plastics coming up, that does somewhat throw a wrench into the plans, just because I do not know exactly yet what that impact is going to be on my movement, my physical activity. Generally speaking, I would say broad term goals would be to get an average of 10,000 steps a day per week. So that means, there might be a few days that are under 10K, but I'd like to say average of 10K steps a day. I'd like to be at the gym doing strength training at least 3 times a week, and I'd like to try to continue doing yoga at least once a week. Obviously there's going to be some times where all of that is put on hold, particularly for the month of January, the month of February, possibly also March, but I think that broadly, that is kind of where I want to be at with fitness. Mental health is the next one, and I think that really the primary thing is to find a therapist and start going regularly. I've been struggling to find one and kind of putting off its whole process, and then partially I just know with plastics, trying to figure out appointments is not going to be something I want to deal with. So my plan is to really start hitting the pavement in terms of finding a therapist once, probably in March, once I'm back at work and a little bit more mobile. And then finally, in the being healthy section, we have self-care. So I've done pretty well at this in the past year, and really the idea is to do one kind of self-care activity per week. Right now, I'm pretty good about doing 2 face masks a week, one clay, one chemical exfoliant, and so I think that those are good ones to keep doing. And then I'm gonna stop my lashes, dear, for plastics, but I probably will resume those as soon as I can. And manicures, pedicures are great things, massages, facials, and those are all very expensive ones that I personally don't mind spending the money on. But I also, I get acupuncture and medical massage covered by my insurance, so those are lower cost as well, alternatives as well. So just really to keep up with all of those things. All right, the next bucket of things that make me happy is travel. So if you guys have been watching me for any length of time, you know how much I love to travel. And my goal, my broad goals are to do international travel at least once every other year. So if you've been paying attention, you know that I went to Peru in October. So that means that 2020 is technically a international travel free zone. I am, of course, going to Mexico for my surgery, but I don't really count that as an international travel because I will be seeing the beautiful insides of a hotel and a hospital, but not really exploring what the country has to offer beyond that. so really my goal for the international travel is to kind of narrow down where I'm planning to go, start saving, start planning. I am planning to, my next international trip, I'm planning to be to Africa. And so I've got a few different countries right now. I'm debating between, and honestly, there are so many wonderful places that I'd love to visit there. I think right now it's been narrowed down to Kenya, South Africa, or Ethiopia, and that is depending on a couple of other factors, including who will go with me and when they can do that and all of that stuff. So there is a small possibility that I might be going to Ethiopia actually later in 2020, later this year, but I think it's probably not going to happen. In that case, I would probably do South Africa or Kenya in 2021. And then national travel is the other little subcategory, and my goal here is to travel at least one place that I have never been before within the United States every year, one state. So right now I am pretty sure that will be Connecticut. However, there is a possibility. I have a friend who is in grad school there, and so I've never been to Connecticut, so I'll probably visit them. There's a possibility that they'll be doing a road trip though over the summer, and I might join them for part of that. So if I do that, then I probably won't be seeing them in Connecticut. I'll probably be joining them somewhere on their road trip and be with them for either all or part of it. But I'm sure, if I do that, I will be making sure that we spend some time in states or a state that I have not been. I'm also right now considering trips to Denver, New York City, and San Francisco. And all of those are places that I've been before, so they don't technically count, but those are some other possible travel plans. I am going to be in a wedding. I'm a bridesmaid in a wedding in September, which is in my state, but will require there are going to be a lot of events leading up to it, as happens with weddings. So though I will not be necessarily traveling, there will be a lot of busyness surrounding that. The third category of things that make me happy is mental stimulation. So within that, reading is a big category. Again, if you've been watching me, you know that I love to read. So my goal for this coming year, I read 377 books last year. So, to be fair, I do listen to audiobooks at like double speed. So there's that. And then I also read like a lot of romancy novels that are super quick reads. But my goal for 2020 is to read 200 books, 12 of which I want to be, 18 of which I would like to be Pulitzer Prize winners. So I've mentioned before that I am doing a challenge where I'm trying to read all the Pulitzer Prize winners. So 18 would be an average of 1.5 books a month, which is how many I read last year. So I'm hoping it'll be doable again. So 18 Pulitzer Prize winners, and then at least 4 books that I own hard copies of. So I am trying to, I've a small collection of books that I've been gifted or that I purchased that I never ended up reading. So I'm actually trying to work my way through that. And so my goal is 1 a quarter, which is what I did last year, and it worked out well. So I am actually getting low because I've been pretty good. Usually when I buy books, I read them. So at least 4 of the books that I own. I also want to keep doing the regular nonfiction reading that I've been doing that I started as part of the 75 Hard. So every day, most every day, I try to read at least 10% of some kind of nonfiction book that I am currently interested in. Those vary. Right now, for the challenge, they were mostly self-help motivational. Now they're not necessarily about that. Sometimes they're about racism or sexism, feminism, all kinds of different topics. So I want to continue doing that. I've really enjoyed doing that. And then the other aspect here of the mental stimulation is career. So my big goal for 2020 in terms of career is to find a new one. I'd like to really find a new job. I have been in my current role for a little over a year. Yeah, a little over a year. Oh man, feels longer. But I've been with the kind of department that I'm in right now for several years. And while there's a lot of great things about the department and the company that I work for, I really am looking for a change of pace. And I've been wanting to have a change of pace for several years now. And the big reason why I have stayed where I am is because first weight loss surgery and then plastics. There is a lot of flexibility with my job, which has been really helpful in the past 2 years in creating a routine in terms of working out, in terms of meal prepping and all of that stuff. It's super flexible, so I've been able to leave early for appointments if I need to. And they have really great benefits, both in terms of coverage and in terms of time off. So it's been ideal in terms of making this huge change, and it's really allowed me to super focus and hone in on losing the weight, getting myself healthy, building these habits. But I think after I kind of go through this more or less final step in the process, I do think I will be ready to turn my focus towards my career. All right, the fourth bucket is socializing. Makes me happy. So the first one would be staying in touch. So most of my, not necessarily most, but a good portion of my very close friends and family do not live in the same city or state as me. So I am the kind of person where we can go months and months and months without saying a word, and then we can pick up right where we left off. But it is also nice to talk to the people that I love more than every few months. So my goal is to really call at least one of my faraway friends and family at least twice a month or every other week. Similarly, activities is another section here, and I am an introvert, a little bit of a homebody. I love staying at home by myself. But I also have a lot of fun when I'm hanging out with people, and it's sometimes easy to forget until I'm actually there and enjoying people's company. So I do want to try to make sure that I am going out and hanging out with people and doing things at least twice a month. So again, at least once every other week or twice a month, I want to make sure I'm going out doing things, seeing the people that I care about, because there are several that are close to me, and sometimes they're visiting or I visit them. So all that good stuff. The final part of this socializing aspect is dating. So this was like a low-key goal last year, and it did not happen. And we'll see what happens this year. I have a lot of issues surrounding intimacy and vulnerability and all of that stuff. That is, I think, both related to being obese my entire life and not. Just other stuff, child of divorce, all of that kind of good stuff. So I've really struggled with that kind of thing. And I also think that it's hard. There's a line, right, between my loose skin. I have definitely, I just felt uncomfortable in terms of I felt like I was catfishing. What I look like in clothes is not what I look like out of clothes. In fact, my sister was like, you look like you weigh a lot more than you do when you're just looking at your skin, because the way it hangs, it just looks like fat. And it's quite voluminous, even though it's mostly skin. And I can kind of strap it down because it is skin, but when it's just hanging all out there, I look bigger than I am when I'm out of clothes. And the whole conversation about it, I don't know. And it's like, I know to an extent I was using that as an excuse, right? Just like I used my weight as an excuse. I know. But it's something I've got to work on. So that therapist that I find will hopefully help me with that. I think having the plastics, and I by no means think that will fix everything in my brain, but I do think removing that barrier in terms of I will no longer be able to use it as an excuse will help. Because I honestly, I know scars and people can use the scars as their excuse. I'm not super concerned about scars. I never have been. I am a little bit again, that's still a conversation you have to have with people about. I've had plastic surgery and people have opinions on plastic surgery. And even though, I'm not only doing this for cosmetic reasons, that is certainly a factor. It is not only because it is uncomfortable and gets rashes and all of that good stuff. It is also partially because I want to look better, in my opinion. I want to feel like I look better. So anyways, the dating thing, maybe I'll start doing that. TBD. I'll keep you all updated. The final bucket of things that make me happy are my online communities. So I'm going to specifically talk about the weight loss surgery community. You guys are obviously a huge part of my life, interacting with you here, on my socials, on my one other social, and meeting you in person. It's been awesome. And if you guys have been, if you're here watching me, that means that you have gone through this process, or you're going through it, or you're thinking about going through it, and it is such a whirlwind, such a roller coaster, and it is something that is hard for other people to understand if they haven't been through it themselves. It's just, that's just the facts. So having that support system has meant a lot, and I do think it has been a contributing factor in why I feel like I've been fairly successful so far. So the first category is YouTube, and I do want to continue to make videos. The biggest thing is my plastics journey. I really want to document that to the best of my ability. I'm really trying to be thorough. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm hoping that I'll be able to have the brain while I'm in it to capture as much as I can, because I know how much those videos have meant to me going into my plastics journey. And I think the more that there are, the more helpful it is for all of us. So that's a big thing. And then I do still want to make at least regular videos. I have been debating on if I'll continue doing the weekly videos throughout the full year. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Right now, I'm good with weekly videos, but I've got a lot happening right now. I think I'll have a lot happening for the next few months in terms of stuff to update you on. Will I have a lot happening next December? I don't know. So regardless, I will be making regular videos, at least monthly. We'll see if I do weekly. I'm not like saying for sure I won't. Maybe I'll do weekly forever, but there'll be regular videos for sure. That's a goal. Then there's Instagram, which is another place you can find me. And I really enjoy interacting with people over there. I do prefer YouTube in terms of just like this long form communication. I just feel like I can kind of express myself better. As always, I want to try to story more on Instagram. It's weird because then I feel like there ends up being so much overlap, and then the people who follow me on both, I don't want you to be like, well, I already heard about this on one platform or the other. So I try to do like different content, and then I just don't have any content because I only have the one life. But I'll try to story more, and really it's just consistent posting over there, which I've been pretty consistent about. I'd like to continue with kind of like at least every other day posting. Usually I post every day, but I don't want to overburden myself. So every other day posting, I think, sounds reasonable. And then finally, the last little thing in weight loss surgery community is meetups, real person, in person, real life meetups. I want to do at least one next year. Last year, how many did I do last year? I went to New Orleans and met a bunch of amazing people. I went to Chicago and I got to meet up with a few people from Instagram and with, I think she's now the Morgan VSG, Kristen, and who's on YouTube. And then I met up with Ruthie from Mystery Guest 1948. I met up with her like a few weeks ago. Oh God, and I feel like I'm missing someone. Oh, I met up with Amanda. Amanda. Oh man, that feels like so long ago, but it was this year. Who is a subscriber and diligent commenter, and we met up. God, I don't even remember now, but sometime this year. And maybe I'm missing people. If so, let me know. I'm sorry. I did not think this through beforehand, but I've met up with at least 4 different groups of people, tons of others, and tons of people at several of them, and it was awesome. It was really great, and I really hope that I can meet up with at least one person this year. I'll be happy, possibly more. If you're ever in Seattle, hit me up. Anyways, I think that is everything. I think that is all of my 2020 New Year's resolutions, my goals, what I am hoping to achieve this next year. It is going to be insane. It's going to be massive. And all I can think about right now is plastics, because that is in less than a month. And it's going to be insane. And I just kind of feel like I really can't plan my life because I have no idea how it's going to go. I'm like, I can read all the testimonials I want, but just like with VSG, I feel like until I experience it. But don't worry, you guys will all be along with me for the ride. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making my 2019 amazing. I hope that you will come along with me for 2020. Let me know what you're hoping to achieve this year in the comment section down below. And I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye.